Hey y'all, hey, it's Alexis. I hope y'all been good. I feel a lot better if you watch my full moon reading. I was low key going through it, but we made it through. We're here. Took some some cleansing rituals and we're here. We're queer and we're back. Okay? I hope you guys are really really good. Let me know if you have any plans for this Labor Day weekend. Are you going anywhere? Are you traveling? Are you going to kick it? Are you just not going to do anything? You're just going to smoke your J and chill? Let me know in the comments below. I don't know what I'm going to do. I think I'll probably just like go kick it with my friends. Um I'm not sure. Not really sure, but that's always the funnest time, right? When you're doing something spontaneous. But and for all the people who were commenting that I'm like playing with my hair too much and I'm not focusing on the reading because I'm touching my hair, I don't know what y'all are referring to. I'm not sure. But as you can see, my hair is done. um, but y'all stop playing over here for real. Stop it. Because this is a bad bitch account. We gonna be doing our hair talking about all the things. So if you don't like that, then scroll on, okay? But today we're going to be discussing Cam Newton and looking at his birth chart because I saw this clip of him discussing a conversation around what is a broken home with Dr. Bryant, and it was really interesting. I don't really know too much about him. I know that I don't know if the person he's with currently is pregnant or like they just recently had a baby, whatever. But they were on his YouTube channel, and he has a podcast where he talks to different people. And in this moment, they are discussing broken homes and what that pertains to their own understandings. And for the understanding of Cam Newton, he says that he is not participating in the formation of broken homes because he has money, he's able to provide. And while that he has 8 blood clot kids by 3 blood clot woman, he maintains unification within his home and within his family structure. And she kind of was just like breaking it down on how she views that, and kind of schooling him a little bit. We're going to play the clip for a little second, and if you're interested, then you can just type this in. But we're going to like speed it up so I don't get demonetized. And yeah, let's get into it, and then we're going to go look at his birth chart.
High function.
What situation?
See my situation. That's a very vague question, and it's for you
What
to even.
situation are you referring
She
to
looked
that you're
good.
looking
She
at and
looks
thinking
really
is not
good.
high
She looks
Just
functioning?
my life.
like a
Your
older
your life
Drea.
entirely, or your life in
My life,
relationships?
my life.
See, don't deflect. Let's stay here. Your life entirely, or your life in relationships?
Both really.
And they think that you're low functioning.
No, I don't.
You just said people see your life and think you're not high functioning. The opposite of that would be low
No,
functioning.
no, no. Okay, so here you go. You're trying to take my intentions
no.
away from this. Is can I correct it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Or can I give you more?
Yeah, some more information. Heck yeah.
So I'm not married, right?
Why he put his hat
beautiful
like
children.
that?
How many?
8.
Yeah.
I thought I didn't do my research. I thought it was 4, but 8. Okay.
No, baby.
Cool.
It's
By how
8.
many women?
3. And this is the kicker. I want more. Now,
By multiple women? What's the intent?
I
Of
just
saying
want God
about
to
your
bring
wife?
him. I just want God to bring him.
Oh, okay. And you have, so you just
Because
bring-
my
okay.
point is this: my desire to get married
Mhm.
is lower than my fear of divorce. So, as you would say, Dr. Brian, you said it. I didn't say it. I will agree. I'm just taking my time.
Drinking and driving is a decision that could change your whole world. You can face a life.
Okay. So that was, I'm not going to play the whole clip because we don't have time. If you want to watch the clip, go do it. I'm not cutting it off and misrepresenting the context of the video, but that was like the main bulk of the video. That's why they clipped it like that. But if you want to watch the rest of it, please do. It was really interesting. And let me see. Yeah, like they have a whole 2 hours of the conversation. So if you want to look at that a little bit more in depth, you can. But I thought that was so interesting because I was like, there's just been a lot of conversation around high value men, high value women, and what it means to be high value, and all these relationship conversations with these public figures. And I just wanted to look at his birth chart because I never really looked at his birth chart or really cared to look, but because this is a trending topic, I was like, oh, like let's go digging. So he's saying that his probability and his desire for marriage is very low as opposed for his wants to build families in which he is not fully present. Okay, he's not fully present, he's not marrying these women, he's just having children with these women. Okay, boom. Alrighty, so we're going to look at his birth chart and just see a little bit more of the configuration of his chart and just have some fun with it. Honestly, have some fun with it. So, Cam Newton is a former quarterback of the NFL, and he is a Taurus Sun. He's a Taurus Sun right here at the 20th degree. He has his Virgo. Oh my gosh, stop. He has his please, Mercury retrograde, please go away. He has his Venus and his Mercury in Gemini, and he has his Jupiter in Gemini. Put my phone on do not disturb. And he has his Chiron and Mars conjunction in Cancer. He has a Leo moon. Stop. He has his Lilith in Libra. He has a Pluto and Scorpio gang. He has his Neptune and Uranus in Capricorn and his Saturn in Capricorn. He has his North Node in the sign of Pisces. And yeah, yes. And it's so crazy because he's a Taurus Sun. He looks mad Taurus. Like, have you seen his like this nigga's face is mad Taurus. Like Taurus placements, their face looks just very like structured and grounded and like very not rigid, but like very structured and very I don't know. Like they're just very structured. Like I'm a Taurus rising and my face is like kind of like a block. Like my face is like this and then like their face is very chiseled. Like think of like Hansel Squidward. Think of like the human version of Shrek. Like that's Taurus. Like Taurus men, they always have this very like soft boy next door, but like rugged man look. Like think of like I don't think Henry Cavill is a Taurus. Is he a Taurus? But like that archetype of like very strong manly men. His face is very very structured like that. I wish we knew his rising to get like a little bit more a little bit more information, but we're just going to go off of this. And what's so interesting is that he has a sun at the 20th degree of Taurus, and 20 breaks down to the number 2, and 2 is a Cancer degree. So he's a Taurus sun, but he's like a Cancerian Taurus, right? Like he is, and this theme about family and these fourth house themes of family lineage of the home keeps coming up and it's getting reinstated. And it's so interesting because all of his placements are at the bottom of his chart. So when it comes to like this quadrant of his life, family, self-development are very, very important to him. And they're like one of the main themes of his life. And he has his Gemini, Venus, and Mercury conjoined together. So it's so interesting because, he's formerly known as, this like macho football player, quarterback. He's, he was amazing rookie. He made all of these accomplishments in his career in the NFL. But now it feels like he's kind of getting his like, he's feeling really comfortable being this communicator, being somebody that has all these different walks of people coming on and sharing their own perspectives. And to be like a podcaster and to be a host is something that not only makes him this is something that he's really passionate about. You could tell that he really, really loves what he does. And not only is he passionate, he has his Jupiter in Gemini and he's having his Jupiter return in Gemini. But, the way that he goes about expressing his passions and expressing this communicative avenue that he's in not only gives him a sense of fulfillment, it gives him financial fulfillment, right? Because Jupiter is here. Jupiter is abundance. Jupiter is blessings. Jupiter is fortune. Jupiter is the philosophies. Like when he shares his philosophy with other people, he makes money off of that, right? He gets abundance. He feels abundant. And with him having a Gemini Venus, like naturally Gemini Venus, air Venuses, they like a lot of variety. They like a lot of flexibility. That doesn't mean that every air Venus is like, they want to be poly or they want like, no limits in their relationships, but they really do value flexibility. It's air, right? They like the airy quality to their relationships. Like they don't really care if people come and go. They kind of encourage that. Like they're like, oh, I want to experience people. I want to have conversations. I want to meet people, And Gemini Venuses, I feel like they can get bored really easily because they need a lot of stimulus. They need a lot of energy. They need a lot of mental energy. They need, like, if you dating an air Venus or air Mars, just like stimulate their intellectual senses, stimulate their mind. Then they're really gonna be like, let's get it. Okay. Like they really, really, really prioritize education. They really prioritize social interaction. Like these are people who are social butterflies who can like get into any room and just like take over because they have that mutable quality where they can bend and they can twist and they're open, they're receptive to new levels of communication and new energies, right? And with his Venus conjoined to his Mercury, like he definitely values, he wants somebody, he wants a his ideal partner would be somebody that is his intellectual match, somebody that can really spar with him intellectually. And I think that it was so interesting that he had the conversation with that woman because, you can really see when someone challenges you intellectually, and it makes you kind of want to prove yourself, but you proving yourself also is like a level that's a level of energy. Like you care about a matter, and when you care about something, then you start to develop feelings for it, and you start to you know there's a lot of people who are in the comments like, because if you watch the full video, she definitely does. I believe she's a counselor, she's a psychologist, but she does a great job of making sure that what she's saying hits the people right. And she's a great communicator. She makes sure that she does like she validates them, she touches them, she encourages them, she makes sure that they're open and receptive to things that she's saying, even though they're very harsh and they're very real, but she's very warm and very feminine. She's like, no, baby, but this is what's going on. Like she has a great way of disarming him, but also a way to arm him mentally and intellectually. And I feel like he is very attracted to that because maybe he kind of goes for women who he feels like don't meet him intellectually, but they meet him in other ways, which we're going to get into. And it's so interesting because he's having his Jupiter return. So, this could be just a great time. I don't know if he has like books or if he has like a memoir. This would be a great time for him to like drop a memoir, drop a book, or do something with literature. Like he can make a lot of money during this time. Like Jupiter return, that's like you feeling very you're feeling more abundant because your natal Jupiter is getting returned back to you. So it's like all these lessons and these philosophies that you've learned is coming back, and you're like, oh, it's like almost reaping the benefits of what you've been putting out. And it's in Gemini, about communication. But we're gonna get into that. And then, Mars is in Jupiter. Mars is in Gemini right now. So Mars was just on his Venus and his Mercury. So, he could have had a really, really, a really good year so far, like working with the Jupiter Gemini Mars transit. Like he could have had a really, really good time with that, working really hard, working on his podcast, getting his intellectual nature stimulated and feeling like he very emboldened in the things that he says. But Jupiter and Gemini, that is like somebody who just yaps and yaps and yaps and yaps and yaps and yaps. Like, oh my God, I dated this guy with a Jupiter and Gemini. That nigga, I mean, he was like fun, but sometimes I'll just be like, girl, shut up. I would just be like, okay. Like, and it's cool. Like, I like a yapper because I'm a yapper myself. But sometimes it's like too much. And this Jupiter and Gemini transit, we've had a lot of people just saying things, a lot of just like talking out the side of their mouth and talking to the side of their neck. just to talk, just to talk. Like so many people on, if you're on TikTok, you've seen every other day is like a controversy. People actually, I think, well, this is actually what and I'm like, and you're just like, girl, girl, like, oh my God. Okay. But what was so interesting to me is that he has his Chiron. Chiron is the wounded healer conjoined to Mars. Mars is, that's our motivator. That's the phallus. That's the peen. That's our sexual drive, our, sexual nature, what motivates us, what motivates our desires, our, sexual desires, what motivates us to, make certain strides in our career, what motivates us in life. And Cancer Mars in a man, Cancer energy and just a man in general, that can make a man a womanizer because they have this innate understanding and softness to themselves that makes them very relatable to women. Like they can get in touch with their own inner femininity. And when I say femininity, I'm not saying that men with Cancer placements are just, they're like women. No, but I mean, we all have masculine and feminine qualities. It's just that with men with Cancerian placements, um, they can really tap into, the passivity, the warm, the kind, the understanding, the empathetic nature that really intrigues a lot of women because they're like, oh my God, this guy, he just gets me. Like all these guys are players. They don't know how to, they're just void of emotion. And a lot of Cancer placements in men, they can, get women like that because they can understand the emotional nature of women. But that can also be a way to like emotionally manipulate women to get them too. So watch that. Oh my God, y'all, it's 444. Ah. But yeah, I mean, with his Cancer Mars, like he is definitely somebody that's very motivated by family. He's I feel like even with his son at the second degree, the 20th degree, breaking down to the second degree, I feel like he identifies himself as a father. Like he identifies himself as a man, like a family man, right? But with that Gemini Venus and Mercury, it's like almost like this, he could view himself as somebody, but then his actions and the things he does outside of that conflicts who he believes he is. Like he could show up one way and be like, "Oh, I'm just this God-fearing family man. Oh my, I'm just yes, I'm with you, women. I'm with these women." But then like in the dark, he be doing his own thing. And like he has his own like cuz Gemini is like the duality, right? It's the dual nature of it's the yin and the yang, right? Like it's, people would categorize Gemini energy as like the Dr. Hyde and Jekyll energy because it's like you show up and you do one thing and then you're this completely different person. I feel like that could have a quality in his relationships where he shows up and he's Taurus, like he's like, I'm gonna take care of you. I know how to make money. I'm gonna give you these lessons. I'm gonna show you what to do. We're gonna talk good. Oh my God, Gemini Mercury, he gonna talk you at your drawers. Conjoined to Venus, he gonna talk you at your drawers. He gonna set you up and give you this amazing fantasy, this amazing possibility of a lifestyle. And oh, I'm gonna take care of you, girl. It was, his sun is ruled by Venus, and his Venus is in Gemini. Like he is somebody who understands the art of seduction. He understands the art of speech, the art of words. And he knows that when he can twist his words in a way to a particular woman, he can disarm her. He can disarm her of, you know, what she believes herself, like her artillery. He can disarm her and he can get her in a vulnerable position. And then he can strike with that Cancer Mars. Ah. Oh gosh. But what's so interesting is so he has his right. Chiron is the wounded healer. That's where we're rejected, right? That's where we have these unhealed wounds within ourselves. That's where we, things from our childhood. And the fact that it's in Cancer, like this particularly denotes wounds around emotions, around family, wounds around um, the mother, even because Cancer is ruled by the moon. And the moon rules over the mother, rules over women. Um, but it's interesting because this is conjoined together with Mars. Mars is, like I said, the motivator. This is what drives us, our sexual desires. Um, but they're conjoined together, right? This asteroid is conjoined with Mars, malefic. I don't know if he like this could play out in a whole myriad of ways, right? This could be somebody who, uses sex to get through their wounds, or this could be somebody who was wounded in a sexual manner, right? Wounds around sex because there was a rejection in childhood. So, you use your charm, you use your macho-ness, you use your direction, and you know how to use it with women to get your way. But it's done not from a place of empowerment, from a place of lack, from a place of wound. Um, and I don't even know anything about his childhood. Like I know he was from Atlanta. And then, his Mars and his Chiron is ruled by the moon, and his moon is in Leo. And Leo rules children, right? And Leo moons, I love Leo moons. They're so cool. I think we all need like a Leo placement in our life to just like tell us to big ourselves up and to really like pop our shit. I love Leo moons, but Leo moons, that's a very self-serving, very selfish moon, like very selfish with their emotions, very self-identified moon. Like our moon is our emotional processing, right? In a fire moon, that's like emotional processing that's very fast and very quick and very, very passionate, right? Um, yeah, like making selfless decisions around emotions that ultimately affect his family, right? Like, because Leo is ruled by the sun, and his sun is in Taurus, but his moon is squaring his sun. So there is like this tension between his ego and who he is, like at his core, right? Making like wanting to provide for women from a place of not true intentions, but from a place of wanting to control the narrative, wanting a place where you didn't have control in childhood. So now this is your false sense of security, your false sense of control, and women that you didn't have from childhood. Um, and I mean, it's not a close square, if not even a real square, but the signs are squaring Taurus and Leo. They're squaring with the fixed polarity. So, I mean, this could even denote him being a very stubborn person, like having a fixed sun and a fixed moon. Like that means you're very rigid. Like off on the surface, you could come across as somebody who's very open minded with that Gemini Mercury, someone who's, you know, receptive to new information. But then at the core, if you have a set of ideals and beliefs about yourself that you believe to be true and that has shaped your foundation, and you're not trying to shake it up, and you're not trying to fix it or not fix it, but you're not open to evolving that can be a very rigid person, a very stubborn person, rigid in the way that they express their emotions, right? Leo moon. Sorry, y'all. um But then it's so interesting because we just had Mercury retrograde ingress into the sign Leo. So Leo is in his moon. So there was conversations around literally his home life about, you know, the dynamic in his life, which is, being this person who, yes, you could very much be a sole financial provider for these children, but if you're not a physical and present father, then there's going to be issues that come across. Like this could be someone who literally like, and f- fire energy is quick, right? It's direct, it's right now, right? There's no long-term vision. Like fire placements, they can get burnt out really quickly because they just go so hard in that one moment, where then the rest of it is debilitated because they just spent all this energy focused on this one thing, this one part right now. And that could be amazing to be somebody who's very passionate, very strong-willed, but when it comes to planning, when it comes to, making decision making for long-term effects, it could be someone that has like short vision of that. Short vision because of impulses from sexual desires that you took and you made because of wounds that you have, that you weren't thinking about your family from a selfish place. Ciao. Is the lady that he's with, is she a Virgo? The woman, I'm sorry. Is she a Virgo? I don't know what her name is. I'm so sorry. No shade, y'all. No shade. I just don't know her name. I need to go look. I just wanted to do like a quick little drive by and look at his stuff. But he also has his Venus. Please, God, please forgive me. He also has his Lilith in Libra, and he's having his Libra return. So, you know, well, Libra rules over relationships, it rules over the seventh house, and his Venus is in Gemini. So the ways in which he's acted in complicity and complexity with relationships, and the way he's acted with the sense of flexibility is being brought up again to be, discussed and rehashed in the way that he is shown up in those relationships, being controlling in relationships, right? Because like he has Pluto and Scorpio. Pluto and Scorpio generation, they had a lot of trauma. They had a lot of trauma to unpack and unlearn. A lot of the millennials, they were the first ones to really speak about the idea or even start thinking about going to therapy, like unlearning trauma, taking leaps of faith, realizing that they got duped. Like they had a dream that was sold to them that wasn't their reality. And that caused a lot of grief, a lot of inner turmoil that they've had to go through. So I think him having this show and processing these emotions is really, really good for him. Really, really, really amazing for him. But I think that he needs to recognize moments in which he himself doesn't always practice what he preaches. Like this could be somebody that has a lot of insight, has a lot of knowledge, and can like speak about their feeling, like speak about their thoughts, not their feelings, sorry. Can speak about their thoughts but not play it into action. Like this is somebody who has all the advice in the world, but then you look at them and they're like, "Girl, your life is trash. Why would I listen to you?" You know? But they can speak about these topics and they can engage in banter where you're like, "Okay, I understand these topics." But when it comes to the application of their knowledge, maybe they might have a little bit of faulty, right? But it's so interesting because he has his North Node in Pisces. Okay. And Pisces is all about, surrendering to God, where we go to when all of our life has crumbled and fell apart. What do we do? We go on our knees and we talk to God, right? We let go of the resistance in life and the limitations of life, and we just become, we we are just in the present moment. So I think like his North Node in Pisces, like and he doesn't have any placements to back this up. So it's going to be a little difficult, but to get to a place of surrendering over control, surrendering to the life circumstance, surrendering to the decisions that he's made. And his North Node is ruled by Jupiter, and his Jupiter is in Gemini. I think that he needs to have more people on his podcast to give him more insight and get him away from this Gemini energy, because Gemini energy, sometimes they can get very bogged in on their own thoughts. They kind of drink their own Kool-Aid because they're intaking so much stimuli, and they're just like, yeah, this is it. And then they don't take a moment to just like expand on that knowledge, and to welcome in new perspectives, welcome in opposing ideals, welcome in um different variety. Like, I feel like this would be so great if he had like, if I don't know what his partner has or his other partners, but if he had like somebody with a Sag placement to really like oppose that Gemini, to give him a broader perspective on life and to challenge his own ideals and to challenge his own philosophies, like this woman did so eloquently. I think that would really, really be good for him. Really, really be good for him to just like kind of shake up and do some self-reflection, do some shadow work, right? Because the justification for being an a non-active participant in the lives of these children, I don't know to what varying degrees he's active in these children's lives, but you know, the money and the success and the fame can only cover up so much, right? That's like putting a band-aid over a bullet wound, right? Like, you're not really addressing the situation. It's a merely distraction. I'm not saying that he has to give up all his riches and give up all his money, give up his prestige, but understand that you're not going to be able to be an equal participant in all these children's lives, like 8 children, and you're just one man. You know, you can't spread yourself that thin because you're having to work to provide for these kids. Either way, there's not going to be equilibrium within all of the family structures, right? And I think this disdain or this unwillingness to be married, it comes from, this wound around family. I don't know what his upbringing. I don't know what he witnessed in childhood that made him want to just, have like this blended family. And I mean, if it works for him, fine, but understand the implications of your actions, right? Because it's not only just you now, it's these children with real lives and real brains and, you know, real trauma that they're going to have to go through. I'm not saying that this man is intentionally like, oh, I'm going to give these children trauma. Oh, okay, I'm just going to like not be with these kids. But unconsciously, the kid is going to say, hey, where is my dad? They look around, okay, I have these nice things. I have a mom who loves me, who cares for me, but where's my dad? Right. And that's going to translate and permeate in so many avenues and so many other things. And unconsciously, as a child, we start to see that love is conditional. Okay, if someone gives me something, that means that's my value, because I'm not valued enough that my father would be here. I'm not enough, because if I was enough, my father would be here in my life instead of with some other family, and they can all have a blended family, and there's love, and there's that you can validate your kids like, hey, I love all of you the same. But kids are only gonna kids, they're not like, kids are very, very smart, but they still are children. They're still innocent. They can still, you know they understand like, hey, yes, I understand this is my brother, this is my sister, but I want my dad right now. And kids don't even want like all the craziness, all the external things. Kids just want your presence. Kids just want you there, right? So I think those are things that he should think about when it comes to adding to his children, and ask the question, why? Why doesn't he want marriage? And not that he has to marry these women, but at this point in your life, to reflect and say, okay, I had all of these children. I made these beautiful lives, but I can only be there temporarily because I have to, schedule my time out, and I have to be with other families. I had to be with another kid, another set of kids. What does that say to the child? Unconsciously, not the physical thing, because you can always tell a kid, hey, I love you, I'm here for you. But kids only see what's in front of them, right? And they see my dad's not here. I mean, even the same thing with Nick Cannon, and we can do a whole birth chart reading on him if you want. But this idea that men have that, oh, money just fixes everything. Money, it's cool. They're provided for. Okay, great. But and then you're the father, you're working hard, you're working all these hours to provide and to split it 8 ways. And not even 8 ways, but the emergencies that come up. What if one of them has like they break an arm or something, you have to go to the emergency room. One of them has to, get clothes for school, right? It's so much that you have to take into account when it comes to bringing life into this world, and not, you know, falling into those intense sexual desires, right? And it's a hard thing, especially when you're coming up in the NFL and you have, this society that reinstates, hey, I can do what I want because I have money, because I have power, because I have access. I can have this woman, she can have my babies, and I don't have to, be there because I'm going to give her money and that's it. Okay. But why? Like, to ask yourself why that is, and why we as a society kind of overlook that. I think a lot of people have just been coming at him in the comments, but I mean, this has been going on for years and years and years and years, where, NFL players, they're there, they have all these millions, they have women who want to procreate with them and exist in dysfunction for the sake of perceived opulence, perceived um, wealth, and this glamorous lifestyle, when the real things that matter are these children and their foundation and what they believe to be true about the world, you know? Cam Newton. And I wanted to pull a card for him to see like what he should be doing moving forward. Because I can't control him, right? I'm not God. I can't control a man, what they do and why they do it. But I think that some self-reflection would be really, really, really beneficial. I mean, even he has his Mars and Cancer opposite his Uranus. Yikes. And his Uranus in Capricorn is directly opposite that Chiron. Does he have anger issues? Like, this looks like sporadic energy. Like, he'll get triggered and then he'll do something without thinking, right? Because it's opposing. Like, he knows what's right from wrong. But when he gets triggered, when he gets, he gets that sense like, oh my God, I gotta do this thing. It's like instant, like no thought behind it. Like, oh, I'm gonna have this consequence, and maybe he does, but with that Gemini energy, I feel like he can find a way to justify it really well. Like, and he has a lot of placements that are in their ruler sign or their rulership sign, so it feels comfortable there. Like, Mercury is like, Gemini is literally ruled by Mercury. Capricorn is literally ruled by Saturn. Ciao. What y'all think? What y'all think about Cam Newton? In the comments, let me know. I don't really know too much about him, but every time I see him, I'm just like, what? Like, he's so crazy. Like, that his dreads in the hat, his locks in the hat, that really took me out. Like, why? And then like his clothes, I feel like even with that Leo moon, just him, his expression is just done in like a overly overly exaggerated way. I mean it works for him. You know, it works for him. Good for him. He should be expressing his self-expression, right? But, you know, he has to realize that there's consequences for the actions that he makes. And he knows that there's always going to be women that are going to validate him and validate his choices. So it's like there's no real incentive to work on it, you know? Especially when he got money. He's like, girl, shut up. Girl, shut up and do this. Watch this kid. This girl be like, okay, daddy. Okay. Okay, what should Cam Newton work on moving forward? What should Cam Newton work on moving forward? Ooh. Okay, so we have the Hanged Man. The Hanged Man, that's like all about being indecisive. And this also came out, the Four of Swords came out. And at the bottom we have the Hermit. The Hermit at the bottom of the deck. I feel like he needs to really understand what he wants and make peace with what he wants. Like he could be someone where, because he has all of this duality to him, he could really say something and not really mean it, and then make decisions off of that. But truly, and he can't follow through with it because it's not something he really is passionate about or he really believes to be true. Like he'll be like, oh yeah, girl, like whatever, like we'll do this thing. Like he needs to be honest with who he is and make the decision. Like I don't want marriage. I don't want marriage. And I'm not like, stop giving people false promises. I could definitely see him as somebody like where he can like slowly try to weave in this like game plan around family and the family structure dynamic. Like, no, like you're gonna love being a sister wife. Like I could see him trying to justify that. And like the women are like, oh my God, like he has money and like I care about him, but like I don't necessarily want to do this. But he does it in a way where he's like, hey, like, what's going on? Oh my God, I can write you some poetry. I just saw this quote today. It just reminded me of you, and like really weave them back into his like mercurial web. Jupiter in Mercury, Jupiter in Gemini, and a Cancer Mars, he be talking to them ladies nice. He be talking to them nice, okay? And he got the money to back it up. So but I feel like he'll have a lot of peace with his like mental peace when he comes to realize like, hey, this is who I am. This is the kind of life that I want. And like lead with that. Lead with that. Don't try to give people false promises or false hopes, or you know, show up to be one version of yourself and then act in a whole different way. When what you truly want is diversity, what you truly want is flexibility and complexity and fluidity in your relationships. Okay. Dang, it's 43 minutes. I did not mean it for it to be this long. Damn. And, you know, to do a lot of some, like literally what I said, the Hermit reflection, like do some self-reflection. Because I could tell he kind of came into that, like, yeah, like I'm gonna just say my thing, I'm gonna say my piece. But then people are like, no, what you're saying is dumb. And you have to justify it, because you can't say, okay, well, yes, and this and like use all of your jargon that you've learned over the years to justify your actions. It's just not tea. It's not tea. It's really not tea. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the reading for Cam Newton. Let me know if you guys like this. Let me know if you want to do a quick little deep dive into Nick Cannon. I don't really know his sign. I don't know anything about him really. I only know that he married Mariah Carey. He was in Drumline. And he had the big Mariah Carey tattoo. And he's on Wildin' Out. And he's a business owner. And he has like 25 kids. But let me know if you guys want that video. And I hope y'all have a great rest of your day, rest of your week. Let me know what plans you have. And also, if you're like into R&B or you're into hip hop or alternative hip hop or alternative R&B, please link me some songs in the comments, because I'm just trying to find new artists and diversify my playlists. I would really appreciate it, y'all. Alrighty, this is it for me. I hope you have a great one. And also, if you want to book a personal reading, make sure you email me at goldenflamehealing@gmail.com. Bye, y'all. Love y'all so much.